1. Introduction. ROSEP. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable. Wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove, and International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. ROSEP. Purple air PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.
Hi, my name is Lily. Andrew gave you the intro to residents against wood smoke emission particulates and their concern for air pollution from indoor residential wood burning. Residents against wood smoke emission particulates, or ROSEP, would like every near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner whose wood smoke enters their yards and sickens the near neighbors to have a purple air PM 2.5 monitor hanging from the eaves of their home to measure the level of PM 2.5 entering their yards. That measurement of air pollution should be used as evidence of unnecessary air pollution, and each indoor residential wood burner should be shut down based on that evidence, one indoor residential wood burner at a time if necessary. The presentation by Andrew ended at 2 minutes 5 seconds. The same presentation by Emma starts at 2 minutes 3 seconds before the end of this podcast. So I am Lily, your timekeeper, and you can start the next podcast at 2 minutes 5 seconds in if you would not like to see the presentation by Andrew a second time. This presentation by me, Lily, ends at 5 minutes in. What you will see in the main content of this ROSEP podcast will be news about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning and how that air pollution is being combated by ordinary people just like you who are unfortunately near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners at this time. There will also be news about unnecessary and highly polluting use of wood as fuel in industrial wood burners and preventable air pollution from wood burning wildfires. There will also be news about air pollution from PM 2.5 from gas-powered cars. There will also be news about airborne diseases which are also preventable with vaccines such as COVID-19 and measles and whooping cough, to name just a few. In 2025, residents against wood smoke emission particulates is also concerned with combating the Trump destruction of government funding for programs which protect human health through the Department of Health and Human Services, and Trump destruction of programs which fund the science and medical research plan to protect human health from preventable illnesses. Protecting human health is a patriotic act, and our defense against enemies is weakened if we are not as healthy as we can be. Heat pump rebates are now offered by the federal government, distributed through the eligible United States, are available in 2025 and are the best, cleanest, and now cheapest alternative to indoor residential wood burning if that burning is actually done to purportedly save money. Wind and solar as sources of the electricity that powers heat pumps and electric cars is also cheaper than burning wood. The adverse health effects that are caused by indoor residential wood burning also come at a cost to near neighbors, both in shortening and ending their lives and in actual hospital, clinic, and funeral costs. Instead of being compensated monetarily, near neighbors should instead be able to achieve immediate relief by stopping indoor residential wood burning in their hyper-localized neighborhoods, which relief readings from purple air PM 2.5 monitors used as evidence of air pollution will help them achieve. Welcome to news about hopeful scientific and medical achievements that will also help us achieve the goal of clean air to breathe.
Web 57DHYAFZZFLiB March 29, 2026 up to 1.2 million trees yearly for Wisconsin Biomass Energy. In this Webisode 0 up to 1.2 million trees burned yearly for Wisconsin Biomass Energy, 1 Wisconsin list of biomass, wood-burning power stations in Wisconsin, 2 Wisconsin Renewable Power Stations, 3 Wisconsin Wind Power Stations, 4 Wisconsin Solar Power Stations, 5 Wisconsin, when trees are cut down in Wisconsin, how much wood is burned in Wisconsin biomass power plants? 6 Wisconsin, when trees are cut down in Wisconsin, how much wood is burned for home heating or home cooking? 7 Wisconsin Appleton Wisconsin does not make as much printing and for writing paper as it used to here is why a few local mills still do. 8 What is the history of the paper industry in Wisconsin since 1848? 9 The lumber industry in Wisconsin since 1848 has produced a variety of products including tin. What farming methods have been used since Wisconsin statehood in 1848? 11 Wisconsin Windicator newsletter Windicators Wisconsin farming insights from the 2022 Census of Agriculture main content. 0 ROSEP view up to 1.2 million trees burned yearly for Wisconsin biomass industry energy production. How long could it take to replace this dirty energy with the clean energy sources of wind, solar, and geothermal, with this clean renewable energy reliably stored on batteries for emergencies, and this energy available through a smart electric grid to all rural areas of Wisconsin in order to power clean home heating, though heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero and double as air conditioners? Looking at solutions to the air pollution from indoor residential wood burning and from biomass burning in Wisconsin, what is the future of trees as a commodity in Wisconsin, if not for wood burning for home heating or cooking or wood burning for biomass energy? Are living trees still needed as a carbon sink and to produce oxygen through photosynthesis? Are trees still needed for paper-making industries in Wisconsin? Yes. Are trees still needed for nut and berry production on farms in Wisconsin? Yes. Are trees still being cut down for biomass burning in industries in Wisconsin? Yes. How much cordwood is used for biomass burning in Wisconsin? Approximately 200,000 cords. How many average-sized trees is 200 cords? Are Wisconsin farmers generally dependent on growing trees outside of a niche market of Christmas tree farms? Should Christmas tree farms continue to produce highly disposable products used only one day of the year when there are alternatives such as artificial trees? No to the first question. Wisconsin farmers are not financially dependent on growing trees for and not dependent financially from selling Christmas trees to any great extent. No to the second question. Artificial trees should be used one day a year, and use of live trees cut down for a short-term purpose should not be a tradition that should continue. Christmas trees that end up as logs used for indoor wood burning should not be used. Both the tradition of live Christmas trees cut down and wood burning used in modern homes are modern hobbies that are not needed and that needlessly pollute the air at a time when everyone is now aware of the adverse health effects of wood burning, from experiencing the air pollution from wildfire smoke that can travel hundreds of miles and arrive in the yards of neighbors near and far, emitting PM 2.5, which produces adverse health effects ranging from cancer to heart attacks and longer term can lead to early deaths. Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. How much PM 2.5 is emitted when burning 200,000 cords of wood? The answer from artificial intelligence uses calculations based on EPA-certified stoves. EPA certification of stoves is questionable. The United Kingdom estimates that their eco-design wood-burning stoves, the cleanest burning wood stoves in the UK, emit 450 times the PM 2.5 as natural gas burning, and those eco-design stoves emits 2.8 times as much PM 2.5 and CO2 as the fossil fuel coal burning. The difference is that wood is designated as a renewable, although it is a dirty renewable, and coal is a fossil fuel of which there is a finite supply. In the era of the close of the Strait of Hormuz, it is more imperative than ever that the United States and the world quickly transition to the clean renewables of wind, solar, and geothermal for home heating and cooking and charging electric cars, and for all other ways we now use fossil fuels in this emergency. It only adds problems to turn for human health and hastening climate change to turn to burning more wood. AI overview. Final answer after calculations below. Burning 100,000 cords of wood a year emits between 4,000 and 10,000 tons of PM 2.5, with a likely average of approximately 6.5 thousand tons of PM 2.5 for a typical mix of residential heating equipment, based on estimates that a single cord of wood typically requires roughly 4 to 6 average-sized trees. 200,000 cords of wood would equal approximately 800,000 to 1.2 million trees. This figure depends on tree size, species, and whether branches are used. Average trees per cord generally for decently sized trees can make 1 cord total calculation density factor. Smaller trees require more, while larger mature trees, for instance 30-inch diameter, can yield 1 to 2 cords per tree. Therefore, for an average sized tree, roughly 1 million trees is a reasonable estimate for 200,000 cords of wood. AI overview. The total amount of fine particulate matter PM 2.5 emitted from burning 100,000 cords of wood is approximately 6,500 to 14,000 tons, depending on the efficiency of the wood stoves or fireplaces used. Key data points for calculation. To calculate the total emissions, we must establish standard weights and emission factors. EF weight of 1 cord of wood. A cord of seasoned hardwood typically weighs approximately 1.5 to 2 tons, roughly 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. Emission factors: uncertified or old stoves approximately 14.6 grams per kilogram of wood, roughly 29.2 pounds per ton. EPA certified non-catalytic stoves approximately 8.98 grams per kilogram, roughly 18 pounds per ton. EPA certified catalytic stoves approximately 3.38 grams per kilogram, roughly 6.8 pounds per ton. Open fireplaces or pits can range significantly, but often average 23.6 pounds per ton. Step-by-step calculation. Average convert cords to tons. Apply emission factors. Scenario A, old stoves or fireplaces at an average of 40 pounds of per cord. Common estimate for mixed older equipment. The total is Scenario B, standard mix using the EPA recreational factor of 23.6 pounds per ton. Scenario C, high emission uncertified using 14.6 grams per kilogram, approximately 29.2 pounds per ton. Summary of impact. Total estimated emissions between 4,000 and 10,000 plus tons of PM 2.5. Comparative context. For perspective, 200,000 cords of wood burned in residential settings can contribute significantly more than the annual exhaust from hundreds of thousands of cars in the same region. Residential wood burning is estimated to contribute nearly 22% of winter pollution in the contiguous U.S. Answer: burning 200,000 cords of wood emits between 4,000 and 10,000 tons of, with a likely average of approximately 6,500 tons for a typical mix of residential heating equipment. 1 Wisconsin list of biomass wood burning power stations in Wisconsin. Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization Wikipedia as of March 29, 2026. This is a list of electricity generating power stations in the U.S. state of Wisconsin, sorted by type and name. In 2024, Wisconsin had a total summer capacity of 17.4 gigawatts through all of its power plants and a net generation of 65,276 gigawatt-hour. The electrical energy generation mix in 2025 was 35.6% natural gas, 35% coal, 15.3% nuclear, 6% solar, 3.3% hydroelectric, 2.9% wind, 1.8% biomass, including refuse-derived fuel, 0.1% petroleum, and less than 0.1% other. 2 Wisconsin Renewable Power Stations. Wisconsin Wind Power Map data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration serves as a general reference. Renew Wisconsin maintains additional data on Wisconsin renewable generation resources. ROSEP view. This includes polluting renewables such as wood burning, also called biomass burning. Biomass and refuse. Name, location, capacity, MW, fuel, type, year, opened, Amoresco, Janesville, Rock County, 3.0, landfill gas, 2004, Bayfront Plant, Ashland County, 47.0, wood end, wood waste and co-fired with natural gas, 1952, Berlin Landfill, Green Lake County, 2.4, landfill gas, 2001, Dairyland WT Plant, Brown County, 1.4, biogas, 2012, Dane Community Digester, Dane County, 2.0, biogas, 2011, Deer Track Park Landfill, Jefferson County, 6.4, landfill gas, 2006-2007, FCPC Renewable Generation, Milwaukee County, 2.0, biogas, 2013, Fiber Recovery Landfill, Marathon County, 2.4, landfill gas, 2008, Flambeau River Papers, Price County, 5.7, wood waste, 1982, French Island Generating Plant, La Crosse County, 16.0, wood waste, refuse, 1940-1948, GL Dairy Biogas, Dane County, 2.0, biogas, 2013, Greenway Energy, Polk County, 3.2, biogas, 2013, Wholesome Dairy, Calumet County, 2.2, biogas, 2001-2006, Kaukauna Paper Mill, Outagamie County, 32.6, wood waste, 1951-1962, 1977, Manitowoc Power Plant, Manitowoc County, 44.0, wood waste, 1955-1962, Metro Landfill GR, Milwaukee County, 3.2, landfill gas, 2000, Mosinee Mill, Marathon County, 48.0, wood waste, 1951-1976, MMSD Wastewater, Milwaukee County, 5.0, biogas, 2000-2009, 2010, Nakusa Paper Mill, Wood County, 12.5, wood waste, 1991, Outagamie Landfill Kogan, Outagamie County, 6.4, landfill gas, 2007-2016, Pheasant Run Landfill GR, Kenosha County, 8.8, landfill gas, 1992-1996, 2000-2002, Richland Center, Richland County, 1.6, biogas, 2013, Ridgeview Landfill GR, Manitowoc County, 6.4, landfill gas, 2002-2006, Rothschild Biomass Kogan Facility, Marathon County, 46.1, wood waste, 2013, Timberline Trail Landfill GR, Rusk County, 4.0, landfill gas, 2006, Winnebago Landfill GR, Winnebago County, 3.9, landfill gas, 2000-2007, 2010-2019, Wisconsin Rapids Pulp Mill, Wood County, 64.7, wood waste, 1968-1991, 3 Wisconsin Wind Power Stations, wind, see also wind power in Wisconsin, project name, location, capacity, MW, year, opened, Blue Sky Green Field Wind Energy Center, towns of Marshfield and Calumet, in Fond du Lac County, 145, 2008, Butler Ridge Wind Energy Center, Dodge County, 54, 2009, Cashton Greens Wind Farm, Cashton, Wisconsin at the Organic Valley Corporate Headquarters, 5.0, 2012, Cedar Ridge Wind Farm, towns of Eden and Empire, in Fond du Lac County, 68, 2008, Forward Wind Energy Center, near Brownsville, Wisconsin in Dodge and Fond du Lac counties, 129, 2008, Galactic Wind Farm, near Waunakee, Wisconsin, in Dane County, 10, 2012, Glacier Hills Wind Park, towns of Randolph and Scott, in Columbia County, 162, 2011, Montfort Wind Energy Center, town of Eden, in Iowa County, Wisconsin, 30, 2002, Quilt Block Wind Farm, Lafayette County, 98, 2017, Rosier Wind Farm, towns of Lincoln and Red River, in Kewaunee County, 11, 1999, Shirley Wind Power, Brown County, 20, 2010, for Wisconsin Solar Power Stations, solar, project name, location, capacity, WAC, year, opened, Arcadia Solar, Trempealeau County, 5.0, 2019, Cashton Solar, Monroe County, 2.0, 2019, Cumberland Solar, Barron County, 2.5, 2019, Eau Claire Solar Garden, Eau Claire County, 1.0, 2018, Fenimore Solar, Grant County, 3.0, 2019, Flambeau Solar, Price County, 2.5, 2017. Hodag Solar, Oneida County, 7.5, 2022. Medford DPC Solar, Taylor County, 2.0, 2017. New Auburn DPC Solar, Chippewa County, 2.5, 2018. New Lisbon Solar, Juneau County, 2.5, 2019. Rock River Solar, Rock County, 2.1, 2016. Strix Solar, Dane County, 6, 2025. Two Creeks Solar Park, Manitowoc County, 150, 2020. Tito Solar, Dane County, 6, 2024. Warren DPC Solar, St. Croix County, 2.2, 2017. 5 Wisconsin. When trees are cut down in Wisconsin, how much wood is burned in Wisconsin biomass power plants? Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization University of Wisconsin-Madison as of March 29, 2026. 200,000 cords. In Wisconsin, approximately 200,000 cords of wood are burned annually as biomass fuel, which contributes to about 1.5% of the energy used in the United States. This wood primarily comes from forestry operations and is used in various energy production facilities. 6 Wisconsin. When trees are cut down in Wisconsin, how much wood is burned for home heating or home cooking? Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization Wisconsin.gov and the U.S. Energy Information Administration EIA as of March 29, 2026. Wood and wood-derived materials are used in as many as 10,000 products, and they are a renewable resource. When harvested sustainably, burning waste wood for fuel eliminates having to put it in landfills, which is a significant environmental benefit. In Wisconsin, the amount of wood burned for home heating or cooking varies significantly. According to the University of Wisconsin-Madison Extension Forestry, about 2/3 of the forested land in Wisconsin is productive enough to grow commercially valuable trees. The forest products industry consumes almost 2/3 of all fuel wood, and nearly 20% of U.S. homes get some heat from burning, with the U.S. Energy Information Administration EIA reports that in 2023, about 2.1% of U.S. annual total energy consumption was from wood and wood waste, with the industrial sector accounting for about 64% of total U.S. consumption of wood and wood waste. 7 Wisconsin Appleton Wisconsin does not make as much printing and writing paper as it used to. Here is why a few local mills still do. Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization Appleton Post Crescent March 22, 2023. There are not as many companies as there used to be that make the kind of paper you would find in a copier at an office. In Wisconsin alone, there are only a few paper mills that still produce printing and writing grade paper, and some of them are focused on niche products. Over the last couple of decades, there has been a general decline in printing and writing papers in an increasingly digital age. As a result, some companies have chosen to idle machines or change what they make, turning to more promising segments of the paper industry, such as packaging and corrugated boxes. These trends have occurred across North America, but Wisconsin is one of the states that has really felt the effects. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic. At first, demand for printing and writing paper continued to slide downhill, but by 2021 it actually saw an uptick, and paper shortages followed. The paper frenzy appears to have calmed down in more recent months. Going forward, though, there is still a need for some places to make printing and writing paper. Some facilities in Wisconsin are helping fill that role. Where do we see printing and writing paper in our everyday lives? The first thing that probably comes to mind for people is copy paper. Copy paper is an example of uncoated free sheet, which makes up a large portion of the printing and writing grades made in North America. The printing and writing segment also includes glossy paper used for products like magazines and brochures, as well as paper used for directories or catalogs that people find in their mailbox. Generally, the category covers things that communications happen on and includes birthday cards, wedding invitations, and books. Which Wisconsin mills still make printing and writing paper, and why? There are at least 3 companies that making printing and writing paper that have mills in Wisconsin. 2 of those companies manufacture specialized products, which they say show growth. Made focuses on premium niche products at Wisconsin mills. Last year, Neenah Incorporated merged with Schweitzer Modded International Incorporated to form Mative Holdings Inc. Today, the company has 2 Wisconsin mills. The mills, one in Neenah and the other in the Stevens Point area, make the colorful paper and cardstock for the Astrobrights brand that are sold online and in big box stores. That brand is popular among teachers and crafters, as well as businesses looking to create flyers. The facilities also produce fine paper used for marketing and advertising materials. For example, the company has made a direct mail advertisement for a new credit card in the past. Employees have also made the high-end paper for presidential inauguration invitations, as well as the 2018 White House Christmas. What effect did the COVID-19 pandemic have? The years of decline in printing and writing paper accelerated tremendously during the pandemic. Early in 2020, lockdowns went into place to curb the spread of COVID-19, and people started working and attending school remotely, and they used less paper. That summer, Verso announced it would indefinitely idle its paper mill in Wisconsin Rapids, citing a decline in demand for graphic paper due to the pandemic as retail, sports, entertainment, and tourism industries reduced their use of print advertising. The following year, though, when vaccines rolled out and people returned to work and school in person, demand shifted in the opposite direction. Retailers and brands also came back with a vengeance, sending people catalogs in the mail. When those things happened, there was simply not enough inventory or materials available to meet that demand. Part of the reason for the shortages was that so many paper companies had either previously idle machines or switched to making products predicted to have better long-term growth. But shipping containers were hard to come by during the pandemic, and this affected the import of paper, making the market feel really tight. Looking back, one could argue that domestic printing and writing producers may have overshot the runway in closing the amount of capacity that they did, since they struggled to fill orders during the uptick. Still, this increase appears to have been a temporary phenomenon, as paper imports have since started to return. Some of the most popular books are printed in Wisconsin. Here is why these companies are getting more work in recent years. What will happen long-term? Printing and writing paper demand is not expected to return to what it once was, or to keep up with the pace that other segments in the industry, such as specialty papers and corrugated cardboard, are growing rather the decline in demand will continue into the foreseeable future until it flattens out. It is not thought to reach zero, though it may pick up again at some point in the future, but it certainly will reach a bottom. We are not close to that bottom yet, but close meaning not in the next few years even, so there will still be a need for some companies to continue make printing and writing grades in the future. 8. What is the history of the paper industry in Wisconsin since 1848? Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The paper industry in Wisconsin has a rich history dating back to 1848, when the first paper mill opened in Milwaukee, initially made from rag straw and waste paper. The industry evolved to focus on wood pulp production in the late 19th century. The Milwaukee early papermaking industry was followed by the Beloit area and the Fox River Valley, which became the Midwest center for paper production. The Neenah paper mill opened in 1865 became the most successful and profitable early mill, eventually being purchased by Kimberly-Clark. Over the years, the industry has seen significant technological advancements and the introduction of new paper products, including tissue paper and specialty papers for various applications. Despite some closures and shifts in demand, Wisconsin remains a leader in the paper industry, producing over 5 million tons of paper annually and employing over 30,000 people. 9. The lumber industry in Wisconsin since 1848 has produced a variety of products, including excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Hardwood lumber, used for furniture, flooring, and building materials. Plywood, a composite material made from layers of wood. Veneer wood products such as cabinets, millwork, and doors. Building materials, including pressure-treated lumber and other engineered wood products. Custom architectural elements such as trusses and wall panels. These products have contributed significantly to the Wisconsin economy and infrastructure development. 10. What farming methods have been used since Wisconsin statehood in 1848? Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Wisconsin State Historical Society, as of March 29, 2026. Since statehood in 1848, Wisconsin farming methods have evolved significantly. Initially, the state was known for its wheat production, making it the breadbasket of America for the first few decades. However, as the century progressed, farmers began to diversify their crops, turning to dairy farming, cranberry industry, apple and cherry orchards, and tobacco production. The introduction of mechanization, particularly the use of tractors, marked a pivotal change in farming practices, leading to a shift from horse-drawn equipment to tractor-powered machinery. This transition not only improved efficiency, but also transformed the rural communities of Wisconsin. As farms grew in size and fewer people lived on them, the Wisconsin agricultural landscape remains diverse, with a focus on both traditional crops and modern agricultural practices. 11. Wisconsin Windicator newsletter. Windicators, Wisconsin farming insights from the 2022 Census of Agriculture. Excerpts edited by Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. University of Wisconsin Extension, April 2024. Every 5 years, the United States Department of Agriculture (USDA) undertakes a detailed inventory of farming operations across the country. The most recent, the 2022 Census of Agriculture, aims to provide a detailed snapshot of the American farming economy, including information on farm demographics, production practices, land use, and economic trends. Overview of recent trends in Wisconsin farming. Using the Census of Agriculture, we pay particular attention to the changes since the last census in 2017 to understand trends in key metrics for Wisconsin agriculture, with some references to longer-term trends. 1997 to 2022 number of farms and dairies. The 2022 census revealed the continuation of a longer-term trend of the decline in the number of Wisconsin farms. From 1997 to 2007, the number of Wisconsin farms was relatively stable with modest declines, but after 2007, the pattern of steady decline returned. In 2022, there were 58,521 farms in Wisconsin, a decline of 9.7%, 6,272 fewer farms from 2017. Over the 25-year period 1997 to 2022, Wisconsin went from 79,541 farms to 58,521, a loss of 21,020 farms, or 26.4%. This rate of decline in the number of Wisconsin farms was faster than the national average, which experienced a 14.2% decline between 1997 and 2022, or 6.9% between 2017 and 2022. A more rapid decline continued specifically in the number of dairy operations in the state. In 1997, there were 24,065 dairy farms in Wisconsin, and in 2022, that number declined by 74.2% to 6,216. The rate of decline in the number of dairy farms appears to be accelerating. The 5-year average rate of decline over since 1997 was 23.5%, but the decline between 2017 and 2022 was 31.2%, with a loss of 2,821 dairy farms. Indeed, in 1997, dairy farms accounted for almost 1 in 3 farms, 30.2%, but that share declined to almost 1 in 10 farms, 10.6% in 2022. The distribution of farms across Wisconsin showed some clear patterns. For example, the very northern part of the state, the North Woods, contained a modest number of farms relative to the southern part. Here, Florence, Iron, and Vilas counties each had less than 100 farms, whereas Dane, Grant, and Marathon counties each had more than 2,000 farms. On average, Wisconsin counties had 824 farms. Given the geographic characteristics of Wisconsin and differences in growing conditions, this distribution of farms across Wisconsin is easily understood. The change in the number of farms between 2017 and 2022 appears to be consistent across Wisconsin, with a handful of very northern counties that declined at a slightly higher rate. While the decline in the number of farms in Wisconsin could be considered alarming, this shift coincided with changes to the distribution of farm size. For example, while the number of dairy farms significantly declined over the past 25 years, the number of milk cows declined more modestly. While the number of milk cows dropped noticeably between 1997 and 2002, the number of cows actually grew from 2002 to 2017. Between 1997 and 2022, the total decline in number of milk cows was 96,769, or 7.1%. The average change between census years was only 1.4%, which was largely driven by the drop between 1997 and 2002. The 2022 census revealed a break in that trend, with Wisconsin milk cows declining by 16,123, 1.3%. In the simplest sense, the average size of the typical dairy farm steadily increased from 55.6 cows per farm in 1997 to 203.4 cows per farm in 2022, with the average rate of increase accelerating over time. For example, the 5-year average increase in dairy herd size was 29.4 cows, 29.4%, but between 2017 and 2022, the increase was 61.7 cows, 44.0%. In other words, the rate of consolidation in dairy farming increased. It is important to note that milk productivity per cow steadily increased. In 2017, the average cow produced 23,725 pounds of milk, but by 2021, they produced 24,385 pounds per cow. Another method to look at the shift in the size of farming is to explore the distribution of farms by the number of acres being operated by the farm. For example, in 1997, the average farm size in terms of acres was 204, but by 2022, that size increased to 236 acres, an increase of 15.7%. By examining the distribution of farms by difference in sizes acres over time, we gain a finer insight into the shifting nature of Wisconsin farming. There is a unique pattern in the distribution of farms by size acres that has played out across Wisconsin for a number of years. There is growth in the number of small and large farms and a decline in the number of average or middle-sized farms. In essence, there is a hollowing out of the middle in the distribution of farms by size. The growth in the larger end reflects consolidation and the economies of scale and size associated with large farms, while the growth in the smaller end reflects growth in specialty foods farms targeting the local foods market and hobby farming farm demographics. Given that the number of farms declined between 2017 and 2022, it is not surprising that the number of farm operators also declined, going from 110,347 in 2017 to 105,920. The median age of Wisconsin farm operators continued to increase, going from 56.0 years in 2017 to 56.7 years in 2022. While this increase may appear modest, 1.3%, looking at the change in the distribution of operators by age categories presents a clearer picture of the aging of Wisconsin farmers. Much like the loss of medium-sized farms, we saw a similar pattern across age groups. Growth in the youngest and oldest categories and a decline of those who could be considered middle age. In essence, there was modest growth in the number of young operators, 1.6% increase for 34 years of age or younger, and a more noticeable growth in those aged 35 to 44, 10.3%, but a decline of 25.6% in those that would be considered middle-aged, 45 to 50. For following national trends, the share of farm operators that are women increased. Specifically in 2017, 34.9% of all Wisconsin operators were women. In 2022, the share increased to 35.5%. Still, despite the growth in the share of women farmers relative to men, the absolute number of women farmers declined from 38,509 on 2017 to 37,600 in 2022. Women farmers, however, were full owners of 71.0% of the farms in which they were involved as an operator, which was higher than their male counterparts, 65.2% in 2022, while the distribution of women and men-operated farms by size followed similar patterns. Women-operated farms tended to be slightly smaller. This was also reflected in the market value of agricultural products sold, where the typical male-operated farm generated $295,406, while female-operated farms generated $228,205 in 2020. 2 of those with internet access, 53.5% had broadband, for example DSL cable fiber optic, and 18.9% used satellite technology, and 4.9% still relied on dial-up modems, which cannot meet the modern demands for connectivity. Cellular technologies and smartphones were a popular method of connectivity, and 60.0% of Wisconsin farmers with internet access used them. Unfortunately, cellular is not always reliable. For instance, bandwidth limitations, limited coverage, data caps, reliability, and costs or suitable for all broadband connectivity needs. While Wisconsin expects to see over $1 billion investment in broadband infrastructure through the federal B Broadband Infrastructure Investment Program, there is no guarantee that this will connect all Wisconsin farmers to reliable and affordable broadband internet types of farms. While Wisconsin is known as the dairy state, unlike many other Midwestern states such as Illinois and Iowa, where the row crops corn and soybeans dominate, the Wisconsin farm economy is highly diversified. In addition to ranking only behind California for dairy milk production, although Wisconsin ranks first in cheese production, Wisconsin ranked first in the nation for milk goats, corn for silage, snap beans, cranberries, and even mink pelts, and ranked second for forage and third nationally for potatoes, carrots, green peas, and sweet corn. In 2022, total revenue from milking cows was $7.35 billion, accounting for 44.0% of total farm revenues, but there were only 5,676 farms with milk cows, or 5.1% of all farms. In other words, the typical dairy farm had total revenue from sales of almost $1.3 million, which compares to typical Wisconsin farm, which had revenue from sales of $151,287. The second largest single commodity category was sales for corn, which were just under $3.1 billion, 18.5% of total farm sales, of which 21,045 farms, 19.1% of all farms, reported revenues. This means that The typical farm with corn sales had revenues of $146,978 from corn, the next highest single category, with sales of cattle and calves $1.76 billion, 10.5%, with 19,661 farms, 17.8% reporting sales, with the typical farm having sales of $89,468, followed by soybean sales $1.44 billion, 8.6%, with 16,509 farms, 15.0%, with average sales of $87,203. It is important to note that a single farm may have multiple commodities, for example, a dairy farm that also grows corn and soybeans that are sold on the open market. While dairy farms had the single largest sales per farm, the second largest sales per farm commodity category were vegetable, including potatoes, sweet potatoes, and melons farmers. There were 3,090. 5 farms reporting sales of $763.9 million, or about $246,800 per farm. Of the 960 farms that grew berries, which in Wisconsin is dominated by cranberries, reported $174.8 million in sales, which means that the typical farm had sales of $182,139. Poultry and egg production was also a significant part of the Wisconsin farming economy, with 5,834 farms, 5.3%, reporting $780.4 million in sales, 4.7%, or $133,769 per farm. Also included in the Census of Agriculture were firms that were classified as nurseries, greenhouses, and floriculture farms, of which there were 1,553 such farms reporting sales of $274.3 million in sales, or $176,658 per farm, while the overall number of farms declined. In Wisconsin between 2017 and 2022, one sector that experienced an increase was aquaculture, which grew from 119 in 2017 to 172 in 2022, an increase of 44.5%. Total revenues from aquaculture increased by 59.6%, going from $13.9 million in 2017 to $22.3 million in 2022. Point sales per aquaculture farm increased from $117,160 to $127,390 over the 2017 to 2022 period. Another sector that experienced growth in the number of farms is fruit and tree nut farms, which went from 1,214 to 1,424, or an increase of 17.3%, and sales went from $31.9 million to $53.0 million, an increase of 66.0%. While dairy still dominates the growth in these alternative types of agricultural commodities is accelerating the diversity of Wisconsin agriculture. Summary: the 2022 Census of Agriculture highlighted the continuation of many historical and national trends for the Wisconsin farming economy. Many operators continued to exit, and this happened rapidly among Wisconsin dairy farms. At the same time, the farms that remained were increasing in size, as both the share and number of farms producing over $500,000 in annual revenue increased. Since 2017, still smaller farms, those with sales under $100,000, accounted for the majority of all Wisconsin farms. Land values in Wisconsin grew 24.2% since 2017, which signals positive economic growth in the sector, but also presents a challenge for new and beginning farmers to obtain access to capital and land. Moving forward, the Wisconsin farming economy remained diverse outside major row crop and dairy operations. Wisconsin ranked in the top 3 states in production of cranberries, potatoes, sweet corn, carrots, and green peas in terms of demographics. While farm operators remained predominantly white and male, the share of women and non-white producers increased since 2017. In sum, the 2022 Census of Agriculture revealed that the shape of Wisconsin agriculture, who farms, what they farm, how they farm, continued to transform. These trends have important implications for the Wisconsin economy and the demands and support that farmers need. For example, the expansion of internet infrastructure can support more technological advances and adoption in agricultural production. Moreover, the growth in the number of older farmers emphasizes the future need to support farm succession planning in the state. Webisode 57DHYAFZZFLiB. January 11, 2026. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cartoon 1 of 5. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1. The current government bid for an overall cut in scientific funding to $154 billion from $198 billion would be a plunge of 22%. Cell 2. This week, the Senate Appropriations Committee released a bipartisan package of bills. Cell 3 that largely scraps the current government-planned cuts to federal science programs. Cell 4. Congress will set aside roughly $188 billion for federal research. Cartoon 2 of 5. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1. $188 billion for federal research will only be a drop of 4%. Cell 2. This rejects the current government push to let our competitors do laps around us. Cell 3. Last year, the current government administration called for a cut in federal basic research of more than 1/3. Cell 4. The current government sought even larger cuts for the National Science Foundation, which sponsors much of the nation's basic research. Cartoon 3 of 5. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1. The current government proposed that the National Science Foundation NSF budget be slashed to $3.9 billion. Cell 2. From $8.8 billion, a drop of 56%. Cell 3, the Senate package countered with a reduction to $8.75 billion. Cell 4, or less than 1%. Cartoon 4 of 5 Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1, the Senate package includes $24.4 billion for NASA, a 1.6% cut. Cell 2, $8.8 billion for the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), a 4% cut. Cell 3, $8.4 billion for the Department of Energy Office of Science, a 1.9% increase. Cell 4, $6.2 billion for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, roughly flat. Cartoon 5 of 5 Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1, the Senate and the House are now not far apart for negotiations on a final budget. Cell 2, the House's moves on 2026 science budgeting add up to $185 billion, which is close to the Senate figure of $188 billion. Cell 3, but this cannot undo the damage that the current government administration frenzy of budget cutting and administrative chaos. Cell 4 brought to the nation's scientific establishment.
Webisode 57DHYAFZZFLiB January 11, 2025. If science funds are restored, then fund alternatives to wood burning. Cartoon 1 of 5. If science funds are restored, then fund alternatives to wood burning. Cell 1, fund heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero and also act as air conditioners. Cell 2, fund extending a smart electric grid everywhere, including all rural areas. Cell 3, fund wind and solar energy sources that produce electricity sent to the smart grid. Cell 4, fund batteries that store the electricity produced by wind and solar long-term for use in emergencies. Cartoon 2 of 5. If science funds are restored, then cut dirty energy that is now funded. Cell 1, cut funds for biofuels such as wood stoves and wood burning for home heating. Cell 2, cut funds for biofuels such as corn-based ethanol for automobile fuel. Cell 3, cut funds for wood and other biofuels used to replace coal burning in industrial plants. Cell 4, cut funds for fossil fuels as well as cut funds for biofuels. Cartoon 3 of 5. If science funds are restored, enact regulations that fund removal of indoor residential wood-burning appliances. Cell 1, fund resident-owned Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors. Cell 2, given free to any near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner. Cell 3, whose wood-burning PM 2.5 emissions enter the yard of the near neighbor and sicken them. Cell 4, use the data downloadable from the Purple Air map as evidence to shut down each indoor residential wood-burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary. Cartoon 4 of 5. If science funds are restored, enact regulations that make electric vehicles and public transport affordable. Cell 1, reinstate rebates for electric vehicles. Cell 2, fund high-speed electric transport that will be low cost to all. Cell 3, enact fuel regulations to discourage production of gas-powered vehicles. Cell 4, fund research that makes production of electric vehicles efficient and cost-effective. Cartoon 5 of 5. If science funds are restored, enact regulations that make home heating and transport by electric vehicle affordable. Cell 1, do not allow subsidies for luxury electric vehicles. Cell 2, do not allow subsidies for home heating for individuals making over a certain salary. Cell 3, tax the rich to provide clean energy subsidies for the middle income and poor. Cell 4, keep in mind that the Energy Department and the EPA should work to stop air pollution that harms human health as well as slow climate change.
Webisode 57DHYAFZZFLiB January 4, 2026. Would smoke affect the family adversely? Cartoon 1 of 2. Cell 1. When you know you are not protecting your family well enough. When you replace air filters and air purifiers every month instead of every 6 months. Just do not burn wood indoors residentially to begin with. Cell 2. When you are scared whenever someone opens a window. Just do not burn wood indoors residentially to begin with. Cartoon 2 of 2. Cell 1. It gives me no great joy to say this. Smog towers do not work. Cell 2. Carbon capture does not work. Just do not burn wood industrially in place of coal to begin with.
Red Green Fox here. The quick Red Green Fox jumped over the barriers to clean air. Red Green Fox here, ready to sing to you the the names of the 2025 major wood-burning biomass industry subsidy opponents. 1. Biofuel Watch. 2. Bulkley Valley Stewardship Coalition of British Columbia, Canada. 3. Kommite Schöne Luft, which means Beautiful Air Committee in German. 4. Dogwood Alliance. 5. Equity Group Foundation, nicknamed EGF. 6. Environmental Paper Network, nicknamed EPN. 7. Natural Resources Defense Council, nicknamed NRDC. 8. Prakaunia Narzek Wisconsin, which means Workshop for All Beings in Polish. 9. Rachel Carson Council. 10. Solutions for Our Climate, nicknamed SFOC.
Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. Saying the quiet part out loud. Roar. Hi, I am Tiger. Our human asked us to get up from our naps and start Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. She gave us a list of internet allies which we will post for her here.
Hi, I am Leone. It is better for your mental fitness to go to these websites than to go to bro sites for advice. Substack letters from an American Heather Cox Richardson. Substack your local epidemiologist. The Midas Touch. The Guardian. The New York Times.
One introduction. ROSEP. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree. But it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen, and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom. The Eco-Design Wood Stove International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. ROSEP. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.